Yo, yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Culture Attack, episode 7, right here on the YouTube and on all major digital platforms. It's your host, Ruben Prime, back at it again, August 9th, 2024. And I'm not alone, as always. I have my brother from another mother. I guess, I mean, I guess I'll be Deadpool. So you're the Wolverine to my Deadpool, Drew. What's going on?
What's going on, bub?
Not much, not much. Just enjoying another Friday. It's pretty gloomy up here. We got like the remnants of tropical storm
Mhm.
up here, so it's been just raining for the past couple of days. And yeah, just been here still riding the high of Deadpool Wolverine, which we both saw at the theaters, and had a pretty interesting experience at the AMC theater that I went to. Yeah, but we're gonna talk about a little bit of that. Of course, our review, the movie, the good, mostly mostly good. Not that many bad things. I mean, yeah, like I think all the positives for this film outweigh the bad, all things considering.
Not
And
really bad, just things that I would have done better. But I can. I was just so. I think I can. I don't. I can't speak for you, but it's just like we were so emotionally invested in everything that was going on that we were able to negate some of the things that didn't make sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because there were a few things that were like kind of like, couldn't have done this differently. But the whole premise, the whole idea, the execution was all that matters. Like they attempted something. It You can tell that they put their love and care into this. Like they put their effort. And
Yeah.
we were talking about this off the podcast, that you can tell just based on all the all the behind the scenes stuff, all the news coming out, the fact that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are just they're promoting the movie, and even some of the things that they did in other countries, like in Japan, they had this big float of Deadpool, and I was like, yeah, like you know, Deadpool's using that MCU money. It's like, of course, like if I had that budget, I'll do it too. And it's the main reason why I think it hit a billion or is about to hit a billion this weekend, but it's pretty much on its way there to hitting a billion.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, yeah, um, and the film has been out 2 weeks, and that's amazing.
Which is just like insane to think about. That it's been 2 weeks. It feels like it. We just saw this like yesterday.
Right,
Like
right.
that's how. Like I don't think I've ever seen a film in this long where it's stuck with me
Hmm.
because and in a good way where I'm just like I need to see this movie again. Like I clips won't do it justice. Like I know they uploaded it on TikTok already, and there's already like HD quality like footage and like you can only show so much on TikTok. To where I'm just like I need to watch this movie again. And somebody actually uploaded the whole movie on YouTube, and I downloaded it, so it's on my phone. And I just remember one day I was like, let me see how good the quality is. And I'm just going to watch like a few minutes of it. And a few minutes went to me just watching the whole movie on my phone. So it's just, I don't know. That's how much I love this movie. Uh, Ruben said his power wing. Oh, I'm going to mute myself. All right. So Ruben's power went out on his end. Now it kind of sucks because we were kind of on a roll with this show, but I guess I'll just take over for a little bit. Yeah, just the movie, like it's stuck with me, and it's been 2 weeks. It came out on July 25th, and it's already August the 9th, and just that's how fresh it is in my mind. Like I've never seen a movie where I'm anticipating on seeing it again. Um, and I plan on seeing it in the theaters again. Like I have to see it in IMAX because we saw it in RPX over here in the Regal Theater. I have to see this shit on IMAX again. Like that's. I mean, I probably should have just shoved out a couple buckaroos and just watched the movie and just get like an IMAX showing. But it is what it is. But um, yeah, this movie's huge. It was being projected as the biggest movie of the summer, possibly the biggest movie of the year. They promoted the hell out of it. Like you saw every commercial you saw was Deadpool Wolverine, whether it was like TV marketing or like they have their own like meal at Taco Bell. I think they have one at Burger King as well, and they were doing like commercials for the Bachelor, not the Bachelor, the Bachelorette. There's even one where like Deadpool and Wolverine had their own podcast, so I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, they promoted the shit out of this movie. I thought they did show a little bit too much in the trailers because they leaked out, cameos where they showed one, I mean, they showed a big one. One of them being, Tyler Mane coming back as Sabretooth. And then the other one, which I came out the week before the movie, which was what's her name? Daphne Keene as X-23, which I don't get why you had to show that. You had to show that fucking cameo like that. That's the one where I'm pissed off. Like that could have been much more effective if it came out in the fucking movie. That would have been so much more effective. Like I don't know if that was a Ryan Reynolds thing or a Sean Levy thing because a lot of everything that you see seems like a Ryan Reynolds move, and I don't know if maybe that was just Marvel like telling Ryan Reynolds, "Hey, we want to get more people in, so put out this cameo." Like I don't know. Like I think in all honesty, this movie was going to make $1 billion regardless. So I don't get why you had to put out that cameo in the trailer. Like I just thought that was like that was unnecessary because we were still going to see the movie. We were still going to give all our money, our hard-earned money, to see this movie. Hold on, let me mute my mic real quick. But that was quite unnecessary for them to do that the week before the fucking movie. But I don't know, where do I start? I don't know. Hopefully Ruben gets his power back on like quick. But so I guess he kind of mentioned that he had an interesting experience at AMC. I went to Regal because I'm currently a Regal unlimited pass member, so I get to see the movies for free. I get discounts on soda and snacks and whatnot. But let's see, Ruben's here, and there's a Windows update. Oh, lovely. So that's gonna take a while, but let me let him know what I'm doing. So yeah, while he deals with that, I wouldn't say I had any really experience because like I was kind of worried going in because lately every time I've been in the movie, something always fucking happens. Like something always fucking happens. Like somebody either brings a kid. Most of the time, it's somebody that brings a kid. Like because we went to go see Bad Boys for Life, or was it no, not for Life, Ride or Die? Which, yep, I see him.
Yo.
Okay, you're back.
Yeah, that's the good thing about StreamYard, that if I were to like, get knocked off, the recording will still happen because it's on the browser. So yay for StreamYard.
Nice. I was just kind of holding on the fort for the time being because it was still recording. Um, would have been a lot of dead air. I think there was like maybe a minute or less of just dead air. But um, yeah, I was just saying about, because you mentioned that you had a theater experience at AMC. I was just talking about mine. Like, I didn't really have a theater experience per se when I went to go see the movie. I was just
Yeah.
like talking about being worried because lately the movies I've been seeing, something always fucking happens. Somebody
Yeah.
brings a kid. It's usually because someone brings a kid. I went to go see Bad Boys Ride or Die, and of course, this family came in. They decided to bring their kid, and he
Hmm.
would not fucking sit down, like at all.
Jesus.
And like I don't know, like the grandpa. I'm assuming it was the grandpa. He wasn't doing shit about it. Everybody else had to take turns watching the kid and taking him outside to calm him down. And it's like, are you being fucking for real right now? Like, why would you bring a kid to a rated R movie that doesn't want to be there? So, and then when I went to go see Twisters
Yeah.
on my birthday, and this didn't have to do with the kid, it had to do with the dumb adult
Hmm.
who was on his phone the whole fucking time.
Wow.
And it wasn't just that he was on his phone. If he had just had his phone like near his like near his like dick or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. Like as long as I can't see it. No, this motherfucker decides to like literally talk on the phone and like listen to voicemails while he has the fucking light like shining right in my direction. And so
Hmm.
finally I had to yell, "Can you please put away your phone?" And apparently that started shit with us because a fucking fat motherfucker decided to get up and walk really slowly, conveniently right in front of us. I'm like, oh fuck you! I hope you fucking get anus cancer. Fuck you. And when our sister-in-law, or I mean, when my sister-in-law, Betty's sister, was walking to go to the restroom, apparently they were staring at her because they thought that she was gonna like be mean to her.
Hmm.
And then after a while, I guess they put away the phone, but I could still fucking see it. So it's like, why would you do that at a movie theater? Like, really?
Wow.
Knowing that's gonna cause a fucking problem. But so I'm like, if anyone even tries to fucking start an issue while I'm seeing this movie, or I'm sitting next to a fat, annoying guy, or somebody's on their phone, or somebody's kid is being annoying, I'm gonna start shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna start shit. I'm gonna go Wolverine on these motherfuckers there.
Yeah.
Luckily, that wasn't the case. Everybody was well behaved. I did not have to sit next to a fat, annoying guy. Nobody had annoying kids there. Nobody was on their phone. Everybody was well behaved. You know, in fact, the
Okay.
crowd was very interactive with the film. You know, especially when the Marvel Studios theme played, everybody was like, "Yeah, yay!" Um, but yeah, what was your experience like?
Oh boy. So um the concession line was just annoying because one thing, like, if you ordered, you know what you ordered,
Mhm.
and if you're just standing there, like a deer in the headlights after you know what you ordered, and I guess, I mean, remember, people's attention spans are just like goldfish, so it's to be expected. But you order something and you're just looking at the person, shouting out your order number and just looking at him like, and then it's like, oh yeah, 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 wait, that's me. And it's like, pay attention. That's just my whole thing. You order what you ordered, especially if there's a bunch of people waiting, and you're not conscious of that. It just makes for annoying like time at the movie theater. That's number one, and then number two, um, I was waiting there for a minute because I had ordered ahead, like ordered my ticket and ordered my snacks and stuff uh ahead of time. And normally when I order something ahead of time, they'll say, "Oh, we don't have it," or "We gave it away," blah blah blah. But they had it this time, so I was like, "Okay, cool, no problem." But waited, it was just a long wait, so I was like, "Fine, no big deal." Go to the theater, go to the auditorium, and I see that someone or someone's took my seat. And your
Mm.
mind your AMC theaters, you you get your assigned seating. When you go buy your ticket, you pick the seat that you want to sit at on the app or whatever. And I had to move 2 times because I thought, oh, okay, this seat looks taken because they already took my seat, and it was like a family, and they had the kids with them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not touching that with a like 10-foot pole.
Mm.
They can have it, and I had to move 2 times, and I was like, you know what? Let me just sit on the floor. And there were like a few people that were sitting in the back on the floor, and I was like, fuck it, I'm already here. Like I could be a Karen, but should you? No, absolutely not. I didn't want to.
I would have been like, "Hey, you're sitting in my seat."
Yeah, I just I don't have patience for that. Like more so than someone taking my seat, just for the fact that it's gonna cause more problems and it's gonna interrupt everyone watching the film. I don't want that. Like I don't want just because of you know, some family or some person taking my seat. I didn't want the whole auditorium like to suffer. I'm not like that. Um, so I was like, yeah, I just sat on the floor and I had a good time. It's I enjoyed the movie. I want to go see it again, so I'm able to, actually enjoy it. But that was just like my whole thing. And then, um, yeah, that's like the first time that's happened. Because normally when I go to movie theaters, especially AMC, I usually had good experiences, but it was just that one time. And I suspect that people were sneaking in there and they weren't like, because usually you have like the ushers like checking, and you would think that it's a weekend premiere, it's opening weekend. So you want to make sure that, everyone's in their assigned seats and all that. But, the one time, because I remember for the Nick Cage movie, there were, ushers and all that. And you expect for a big movie like this to have, the ushers, but it's like whatever. I sit on the floor. I'm here. What's the worst that can happen? That I'd be told if I was told you got to get up from the floor, then I would have been a Karen because like someone took my seat. I like fine, they're there. I'm not gonna disrupt everyone else's time watching the film so I can, sit in my seat, whatever. Um, and if that would have happened, if they would have told me, "Hey, you got to get up from the floor," yeah, I would have raised hell. But luckily, that didn't happen, and I was able to enjoy the movie. But I'm going to see it again so I can, sit on my recline chair that I'm paying that I'm paying $24 a month, to go, and I got to take advantage of the AMC, the AMC membership. So I got to get my money's worth for that, good quality entertainment. But yeah, that was my experience. Like it's whatever. Um, just roll it off my back. But um, we're gonna we're gonna talk about Deadpool Wolverine because I just been itching, not in that way, but just with excitement. Not in that way. We're clean here.
Mm.
We're clean here, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, you can follow me on X, on Twitter, still calling it Twitter, at Mr. Ruben Prime. You can follow my cohort here, my partner in crime, at DY Experience on Twitter /X. And you can also you follow this podcast on Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube. Just search Culture Attack, and as well as Culture Attack on TikTok. And I'll soon, it's just been so busy, but I will soon be uploading like shorts and stuff onto Instagram.
Mhm.
And that will be on the Ruben Prime Media Instagram account. Just like I figured I don't want to like just delete it, so I resurrected. I'm going to resurrect that old Twitter account because I have some bangers in there. As to quote Seamus, as
Banger.
after banger after banger. Like Seamus, for he's like in his 40s, he's still pretty good. I mean, he looks better than most people do in their 40s. I'll tell you that much.
Uh,
Still
not
going.
as good. Not as good as Hugh Jackman, who's 55. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah. I saw I saw that scene. The ending scene. I mean, it's been out for a while. Like this is gonna be spoiler heavy. So if you and I say this now, if you guys have not seen Deadpool Wolverine and you do not want to be spoiled, please turn back now. Cover your ears. Cover your eyes if you're watching this on YouTube. Uh, you know, go watch the film uh, once, twice, three times. But as long as you watched it, come back and then watch us. We don't want you to be spoiled. I mean, to be
Even though,
fair,
even though it's been 2 weeks and like the internet has already put everything out there. So
yeah, they spoiled the film. I was spoiled on like a few surprises leading up to the film, like me going and seeing the film. But after I saw the film opening weekend, everyone just spoiled everything. And I was like, well, it's too late. It's too late.
Mhm.
But yeah, just for those who are not on the internet or at least not on Twitter, um, just if you don't want to be spoiled, then don't listen to this. Go back and watch the film and come back and listen to our podcast. But here we go. So,
Mm.
um, I thought the film overall was great, breath of fresh air. Uh, so many, just so many suspenseful parts, humor. So of course, a lot of humor. It
Mhm.
wouldn't be a Deadpool movie without it. Um, Hugh Jackman's role as the Wolverine variant, I enjoyed. Um, there were especially the scene where he was in the was it the Honda Odyssey?
Mm.
Yeah, that scene, but before they fought, but that scene, I thought I was like, damn, we're watching a movie, or I was in the theater and I was like, damn, I feel bad for Deadpool because it felt like real, like that felt like something you will see like in real life, just someone just chewing someone up
That was
verbally.
that was like Hugh Jackman in Prisoners acting. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus. Like
yeah,
that scene like kind of like everybody quiet. And
yeah.
I just went, God damn. Like Jesus Christ. And like but he needed to hear that because this is the most Deadpooliest film
Yeah.
out of all of them. Like this seemed like a movie actually made by Deadpool. And like as much as I love the character, like in this movie, he particularly does not shut the fuck up.
Mhm.
Like especially in one scene in particular, I don't want to skip ahead, but like he's saying what he's saying. I'm like, bruh, shut the fuck up. And he ends up getting somebody killed, which we'll talk about. But
Yeah, we'll talk about, yeah.
and then Wolverine just goes off on him where he's like, you're the most attention starved little fucking prick that I've ever met, and that says a lot because I've been alive for 200 fucking years.
Yeah.
And it'd be God's best joke to keep you alive, but then that'd be on all of us. And that bald chick was right. You can't save the world. You can even save a relationship with a goddamn stripper.
Yeah.
And got nothing to say, mouth. I'm gonna fight you. Oh, art. And that fight scene, like I put that up there with Winter Soldier, the elevator scene, the Daredevil hallway scene.
Yeah.
Like that was that fucking good. Like it was just violent. Like this is the most violent of all the Deadpool movies, and a lot of cussing. Like there was, I think, what is it, 116 fucks
Yeah.
in this movie, any of those had to have come from Hugh Jackman.
At least, yeah.
Like so much fucks, like to the point where even I just kind of clutch my pearls. I'm like, ooh, boy,
I was like,
lot of
oh,
profanity. Or
oh
what
Jesus.
was what that was it? The black guy from Vine. Watch your profanity.
Yeah.
Like that. That was kind of me for a second. For a second, like I swear, like a sailor. But even I was like, God damn. Like,
Yeah, that lead up to the fight scene was just tense, and you needed that, and that was their way of, Deadpool and Wolverine just blowing off steam.
right.
And after that fight, it kind of it made Wolverine respect Deadpool just a little bit. And as the movie went along, and of course not going ahead, but as the movie went along, you start to see Hugh Jackman's, Wolverine respect Deadpool just a bit until the climax of the film.
Right.
And yeah, and even the first fight scene that they had, by the Century 21 Fox, like,
Yeah.
that little thing there, in the void. Yeah, like when a lot of people might not, I mean, some people have, but there are a few that just had that like gone over their head. But the
There's
first,
definitely a lot of meta humor in this movie that I think went over people's heads. And I
yeah,
think if you didn't like the movie, that might be one of the big reasons why, because there's like a chock full of like meta insider baseball
yeah,
terms, which like anytime that would happen, I would just be like, I get that, I understood that reference, like,
yeah,
and I would just hear people in there and just go, well,
yeah.
but
It's a lot of normies watching the film, and we need the normies
right,
because they went to watch this film because of, it's a Marvel film, A, and B, you have Wolverine, you have an X-Men. So that's, partly why, of course, all the other surprises in the film. But yeah, and there was like this one thing during the first fight between Wolverine and Deadpool, that he did, like when he was fighting, like crawled toward,
ooh, I love
running,
that.
crawling. Yeah, he did like, the Berserker barrage. And
This
yeah,
this was definitely maybe the most powerful he's ever been in
yeah,
any like rendition he does, because he actually acted like an animal.
yeah,
Whereas in any of the other renditions, it was just him, I guess, being more grounded, if that
yeah,
makes sense. But like this is the most comic booky version, and also maybe the strongest Wolverine that we've seen out of Hugh.
yeah. I agree. I really I sense that from the film, that this variant, of Wolverine is like the strongest, and you've seen that through all the fights, through all the battles he had during the course of the film. So yeah, I definitely agree. Like, there's definitely uh, a case, to make that he's like the strongest, and even, Deadpool mentioned, hey, you're the best, you're the best, uh, Wolverine. And yeah, so let's get to there's a scene where Mr. Paradox, like when he brings when uh Deadpool and Paradox, when they're in that, during that scene, and he's getting suited up.
Mhm.
Very a lot of ass shots. A lot
You,
of
you know,
ass shots.
I don't know if you're gonna touch base on this. Like, you notice how like the guy was wearing white gloves, as in a sense of like it was Mickey Mouse, like I guess
Yeah.
having his way, or yeah, manhandling. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that was very cheeky from from the film, and yeah, that I found that funny. I was like, yeah, they knew what they were doing with that. Um, what else? What else?
Oh, yeah, they got away with a lot in this movie. Like
Yeah,
they took so many shots at Disney, where I'm just like, got like, they really let them get away with that. Like that's awesome.
yeah. Even the scene where Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, and he says, "Hey, I'm going, I'm going to
Disney,
Disneyland. Suck it,
suck it,
Fox.
get fucked.
Get
Or
fucked." And
when he tells Wolverine, "Welcome to the MCU," you're joining at a bit of a low point.
yeah, yeah. That
or
was
when they
another one.
or when they make fun of multiverses, or they're like, "The multiverse thing needs to stop. It hasn't been good since Endgame."
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, like they took a lot of jobs. I mean, hey, rightfully so. Like it's all fair game. So and I think that was all Ryan Reynolds. He was like,
Well,
yo,
it was
you know,
Kevin Feige too, because they ran it by Kevin Feige, and they didn't think he
yeah,
would say yes. But he's like, "Yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
say it."
yeah, yeah. I'm the only thing that Foggy said that absolutely not you can't do is bring up like cocaine or drugs or anything like that.
Well, they can't do it. So,
Yeah,
like, he said you can't do it. So they ended up writing the joke about, "Hey, cocaine is the one thing Feige said is off limits."
yeah. Which I found that even though we seen it in the trailer, it was still funny, seeing the scene play out. Um, and then what else? What else? Oh, the scene um when Deadpool's trying to apply to become an Avenger.
Oh, that was unexpected. Like, because it shows the date March 2018. It says Earth 616. For a second, I thought it was going to be he was talking to Kevin Feige or somebody pretending to be Kevin Feige,
Yeah,
but it ends up being Happy, which I was like, "Oh shit, it's
yeah,
Happy."
yeah,
Which was it March 14th, 2018, which was supposed to be 2 months before Endgame, or not Endgame, Infinity War.
yeah.
Which I'm like, that's just funny to think about. And yeah, just the dialogue was funny where like he's like, "So is the big man gonna be joining us?" "Oh, what big man? I'm the big man." It's like, "You're more of a chauffeur." And he's like, the big man usually isn't available for cameos.
Oh Lord. Yeah, that whole scene was like it was gold. It was gold. Um okay, let's talk about that scene that got someone killed. So we get introduced to, of course, since this is, they're in the void, which has all the Fox, the Fox universes, you know, superheroes, mutants, characters. And we see Chris Evans. He makes his cameo as the Human Torch, as a Johnny Storm, and it was dope seeing Chris Evans. Not gonna lie, seeing him in a Marvel film, and I was like, oh boy, it's something told me, yeah, he's not gonna make it. Something's gonna go down, and of course, Deadpool, because he can't shut the hell up. He he goes and they get captured, of course, and they all Wolverine, Deadpool, and Johnny Storm. They all get captured. Right before they get captured, um, what's his name? Sabretooth. It was cool seeing Sabretooth. Get a little bit of shine, and Wolverine dispatches him as
Which
well.
was like really fucking quick.
Yeah, really quick. I mean, hey, like Wolverine. I mean, it's not the Wolverine that had beef with Sabretooth. That was the Wolverine from Logan. So that those if
I think that
memory
was
serves,
Origins.
yeah, Origins, yeah,
Leaf Strider. Would
yeah,
have been nice to see Leaf Strider, but yeah.
yeah. But yeah, like it was cool seeing that. It was cool seeing that fight. Um, and then of course, we see Pyro, we see few of the other like mutants, and we get introduced to Cassandra, who is uh Professor X's.
Is it? Is that where the put away with it? I'm still there. Hopefully, all over the run.
Professor X's sister.
Yeah, that was distracted by background noise. Um, yeah, Professor X's sister, and we get introduced to her, and I liked her character. Um, I pretty much liked her character, very like powerful, psychotic, um, unhinged at times, and Deadpool was saying how Johnny Storm was going to, just talking, shit talking on Johnny Storm's behalf, and Johnny Storm was trying to defend himself, like, no, like I don't know what he's talking about, like I never said that, like why would I say that? And then she just immediately just kills him right on the spot, and I was like, ooh, that that was gruesome. That was very gnarly way to die.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we kind of expected that to happen, but
yeah. I mean, it was great. It was, hey, like it's for the film that needed, to be established. That, yeah, like Cassandra's no, don't mess with
she's
her.
very much like she kind of played into the body horror a lot, which was it was creepy and just uncomfortable. But I was like, that works. Like
Yeah,
she's almost kind of like what is it? The show Legion with Dan Stevens, kind of like that character.
yeah.
But yeah, she was a good villain.
Yeah,
Kind of wanted a little more from her than what I got, but I thought she was a really good villain.
yeah,
And then going back to Chris Evans, like when he came on screen, like it went the way I think everyone kind of thought it would, which was uh Deadpool and Marvel Comics, like he loves Captain America. So he sees Chris Evans and he just assumes it's Cap, and like, he's
yeah.
like turning over to Wolverine, he's like, he's gonna say the thing, Avengers, fly him on, what the fuck?
What?
And then he turns into Human Torch and pretty much gets owned by Pyro, which I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, would it be that way in the comics? But I don't know. That's just me.
Yes,
But
actually, I checked because a lot of people were like, "Oh, like that's stupid. Like, why would um like Human Torch has the power, of the sun, like a supernova, um, but Pyro he has the power to manipulate fire and he can extinguish fire. Like he remember in the earlier X-Men films, he had his lighter and he can use that to manipulate fire. So it makes sense. And of course, you weren't
okay,
gonna, yeah, and you weren't gonna. And I checked it out because at first, when I saw it in the theaters, I was like, "Oh man, it would have been nice to have him be in the film just a bit, just a bit longer." But then looking back, especially the comics, was like, "Oh, okay, makes sense." And especially the cameo was expensive. I believe not expensive as Robert Downey Jr. If he were to be in the film as a cameo, but he's pretty expensive.
so
So
I imagine it would have been
yeah,
pretty expensive. But yeah, just again, it was good seeing Chris. I like the idea of Chris Evans just being like, I won't be Captain America, but I'll be Human Torch for a day and just be me, like
Yeah.
just be Boston Chris Evans. Like I'm not going to be goody two shoes Steve Rogers. I'll be Boston Chris Evans and just go on this rant at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
which apparently I think Ryan Reynolds asked Chris Evans like, "Do you want cue cards or something?" He's like, "No, I got this memorized," and he just gives that monologue at the end of the movie, jumping ahead where Deadpool's like, "For everyone that thought I got Johnny killed, here's proof," and just turns to the camera. That's what you get, fuckers. So that's another thing I like about this movie, is that it wasn't a jumping point for another movie. It
Yeah,
was
it was
its own thing. Yeah, like every Deadpool movie, like was a jumping pad for its own thing. Like I don't even know if I would call them sequels. Like they just feel like chapters, like the
Yeah.
Deadpool movies. Like the first chapter is the origin and blah blah. So, and every post credit scene just felt like a post credit scene specifically for Deadpool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, chapters is a good way, because not everything has to be, like a sequel. Like it could be a continuation of an ongoing story.
right.
You have a book, and within a book you have many chapters. So this film is essentially another chapter in a book, and it could be its own entity, and that's why it was received so well, because you could have gone back and seen the other two, which I saw the other two Deadpool films, but for people coming in, they were just excited to see Deadpool, see Wolverine, see all the other surprises, and to me, like, that's again one of the many reasons why the film did so well. Like it's just something that I keep bringing this point back, but just the fact that it it had so much care and love and attention, 10 and 11 care, and that's a good thing. I'm so happy about that, because it shows that everyone involved gave a damn so much. um you know just so much hands-on, like with the behind the scenes stuff, after the film, all the reports, all the interviews. um it goes to show that when you're proud of something, you're going to just plaster all of that. You're gonna show it off to the world, like, hey, like, we're proud of this. These are the reasons why. Look at this behind the scene. uh of of your favorite scene here. Look at, again, don't want to go too far, but all the everyone involved, the cast and crew, the writers, the directors, stars, it they had a good time. And the fact we see that on screen, we see how good of a job they did. We enjoyed it because they enjoyed doing this film. They had a good time. They had a blast, and that's why I want to see it. I want to see it again. Friends of mine that saw it, they want to see it again too, or plan on seeing it again. And that's great enough for me. Um, so I mean, we can continue with some of our favorite scenes. I mean, let's just talk about it. Um, so we get introduced to a few surprises, which I was hyped, even though it was spoiled by this online. I mean, it is what it is. It's the day and age of you know social media. Like, people just have to spoil stuff, but it is what it is. But I was still surprised nonetheless. Seeing Elektra, seeing Gambit, and seeing Blade and X-23, and everyone was hyped for Blade and
Yep.
Gambit. Yep, Gambit and Blade. Yeah, and Elektra, like she was cool, and I'm surprised Jennifer Gardner. I was like, whoa, she's still as hot as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a plus.
Yeah, goddamn, she looks good. Like I've always had a thing for Jennifer Garner. When I saw her in that suit again, it just brought back some memories from middle school.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, the lecture movie was hot garbage, but just I don't think that was on her. She got forced to do that because she did the Daredevil movie, and when you do a movie for a studio, they're like, well, you have to do this movie. So I like the idea of what all those cameos represented. Whereas Elektra, hers was, my movie is considered one of the worst, and I want a better legacy for myself. With Blade is I never got to properly finish my story, and Gambit is, I tried to make this happen, but I couldn't make it happen because of circumstance. And yeah, just I was happy to see Jennifer Garner, look great. Very happy to see Blade, because the history with Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes. A lot of people don't know, if it wasn't for Blade Trinity, we wouldn't have gotten Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Yep.
Because Ryan Reynolds played the character Hannibal King, and I don't know much about the character. I just know apparently he was more serious in the comics, and Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds is gonna, Ryan Reynolds it up.
Yeah.
The best way to put it. And I don't know if it was a producer or a writer that was like, you're acting a lot like Deadpool. And he proceeded to give Ryan Reynolds like Deadpool comics, and for 20 years, like that's how deep that Ryan Reynolds has been involved in Deadpool, was for 20 years.
Yep.
And it took him 10 years to get this movie, up and running. And, to this day is still very cheeky about, I might have had something to do with leaking it, which Ryan, just be honest. You leaked it. Just come on. Yeah. At this point, nobody's going to care anymore, but it's Ryan. But just the infamous history with Wesley Snipes with Ryan Reynolds, that they didn't like each other, or I think it was more so that Wesley didn't like Ryan Reynolds. And the whole story about Blade Trinity, about how Wesley Snipes was on set, is, you can look it up. We won't get too much into it, but all in all, apparently he didn't like Ryan. There's even that joke where Blade tells Deadpool, "I don't like you," and Deadpool goes, "You never did." To which Wesley Snipes says that, "Oh, we were always friends. We just milked that." I'm like, RJ, was very much like, I'm gonna have to call bullshit on that, Wesley. Like, come on. Yeah. But it is what it is. At this point, who cares anymore? Maybe they buried the hatchet a long time ago, and maybe going to jail for tax fraud or tax evasion humbled him a little bit, which is cool. Yeah. Because it's nice to see him back as Blade, our childhood. And then, Channing Tatum is Gambit, which I'm very happy for Channing Tatum to be Gambit, because he really wanted this movie to happen. He moved heaven and earth to make it happen, but it's just, there were dark and evil forces working against him, essentially. There were like, was it 2 different directors, walked away from the movie, and different writers, and then the merger happened with Disney and Fox, and the movie got shelved, and he admitted it kind of fucked with him for a little bit. Yeah, like it actually gave him PTSD, like to the point where he couldn't even watch other Marvel movies. Yeah, which I feel bad. I honestly do feel bad for the guy, because he really wanted that to happen. It's almost kind of like Ryan with Deadpool. So the fact that he got to be, Gambit for a day, like he from what I heard, like, from what I read, Sean Levy said that Channing was like really emotional on set, because he finally got to play a character that he had been wanting to play for the longest time, but it couldn't happen. And then finally he gets to come back and play, dress up as Gambit, a comic accurate Gambit, with the staff and the overcoat, even like the little, the gimmicks on the side, like, I'm happy for the guy. I'm honestly happy for the guy, and just seeing like behind the scenes footage of him actually doing the action scenes, like, because people forget that Channing Tatum was a dancer back in the day, so he still got the moves. I like to hear stories like that Channing was more than grateful and happy, and even put out a thing saying like, I still want to play Gambit. Like, it's up to Kevin Feige and Bob Iger to make it happen. So it's like, make it happen, people. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Deadpool made you $1 billion. Just listen to Marvel Jesus.
Yeah.
Like he is literally Marvel Jesus. They actually just beat Passion of the Christ as like I think the highest grossing rated R movie of all time. It's like Marvel Jesus just beat actual Jesus. So
yeah,
you will heed his word. So, but I would love to see a Gambit movie with Channing. I mean, fuck it. Put Channing in the MCU as Gambit. Like fuck it. Make it happen. Make a Blade Logan-esque type of movie.
Oh yeah. I'm all for them like doing X-Men and having Gambit as, have Channing Tatum return as Gambit, reprise the role, have him be a mainstay. Because a lot of people don't know, like in the comics, you do have the X-Men and the Avengers and Fantastic Four, fight like side by side against each other. So it's definitely possible. And it's especially with some of the comic books I read, like it's possible. It's just you just gotta weave it into the story and make it make sense.
Yeah,
the money's there.
and also like the accent. So I've looked on TikTok. There's actual people from New Orleans that say that Shanning's Cajun accent is legit.
Yeah,
and it's also because Channing Tatum is grew up in Louisiana. So like I like before we started recording, I was just randomly looking at a video of a woman who's from New Orleans, Louisiana, and she said she was like dying at certain like phrases that he was using, which I obviously don't remember, but like she was like, I lost my shit when I heard him give this certain phrase because I know what it means. Like I know one time he's like, "Oh, you so nasty," and Deadpool's like, "What the fuck are you saying? Like, who's your dialect coach? The Minions?
Who's your dialect coach?" I love that interaction with Deadpool and Gambit. Like,
I'm ready. I shot on my daddy's dick ready.
Yeah. That was like top 5 like best moments of the film. Like I'm glad that Channing was able to live out his dream. Hey, it took a little longer, but it happened. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Jennifer Gardner, Wesley Snipes, Channing Tatum.
I and just the Daredevil joke of like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's all right."
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be cool to have Deadpool and like Deadpool, Punisher, just all of them in in the MCU in some form of capacity. Like they don't like have like I know Daredevil Born Again is, I know they're going to announce that. It's only a matter of time. But if at least if they're able to get an MCU like TV spot, have it make sense, have it be his own thing, and then maybe in one of the Avengers films, have him, give him a cameo, see how that goes, and then hey, you can spread out the TV series. I think that's like the best way to maybe not a Gambit film, but a Gambit TV show, and have it tie into the X-Men film when they do the X-Men film. And yeah, like I think that's just the way to go. Just do what works. Like you have all these standalone films and they're all culminated to the Avengers. You can still do that. Especially with the success of this film. And then for Blade, I mean,
I know exactly what you were thinking. That one scene where he's like, which Punisher was it? There's like 5 of them, and Blade goes, "There's only one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade." And then Deadpool just looks to the camera like,
"Yep."
Yeah, just then
Yeah.
the less said about. I don't want to talk about the Marshall Ali thing personally, but yeah, just I'm honestly happy. That felt like a kid on Christmas. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I asked for 6 presents and I ended up getting 16 presents.
Yeah. Like that film did so much. And again, like we said this before. I mean, at least I know I said it. Will this film alone save the MCU? No. But it
Well,
did the job that needed to do. It brought buzz to
it
the
puts
MCU.
it puts them on the road.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off. It puts them on the road because I think the narrative of like Marvel's back, Marvel's dead. When like when like a few good things happen, Marvel's back. When like a few bad things happen, Marvel's dead. Like I don't necessarily think that's the case. I mean, Marvel's a $30 billion franchise. They're not dead. They're not dead. But like for a while they've been very complacent and very much like the brand is what's going to help, and putting out shit that they think is good because it has the Marvel brand next to it, while us as fans are like, I don't know if people want to see that, but I'll watch it just to make sure it's good.
Yep.
But yeah, just like lately, Marvel's kind of been hitting their stride. They're on the right track. I'll put it that way. They're on the right track as far as like knowing who their audience is and knowing that stuff like The Boys and Gen V and Invincible is out there and people want to see something different. So stuff like Loki season 2, stuff like X-Men 97, and also now stuff with Deadpool Wolverine, which thought to make him $1 billion. It's gonna have them kind of think, okay, let's take risks. Let's put out the Punisher. Let's put out Daredevil Born Again. Let's put out Midnight Suns. Let's put out Blade whenever that comes out. Let's put out other more mature content. But RJ said something else kind of interesting, where like hopefully they don't get too rated R happy, where they assume, oh, the solution is everything needs to be rated R. It's like no, not everything needs to be rated R. If anything, for certain movies, maybe be like a hard PG-13.
Yeah.
Like Captain America, for example, like that's a political thriller. You could maybe get away with being a hard PG-13 on that one, but yeah, just like I'm happy with the road that they're on, because they realize, okay, this is what we have to do. Let's get back to writing good shit, but at the same time, let's take risks. Let's be risky because we know what our audience wants. And then you see other stuff that they're putting out where it's like Agatha All Along, which I'm like, oh, I forgot that's coming out.
And it's funny that show, for the amount of titles that show has gone through, or the title changes, but yeah, that's greenlit, and yet we still have nothing. And it's been how long? Nothing for
Right.
Blade.
I mean, yeah, it's just like I'm not hyped about seeing that show either, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm more interested in the fact that Aubrey Plaza's in it, so I'll watch it for that. And it at least looks different. But with the momentum that Marvel's been getting back with the public and the fans, you hear like this show's coming out, and it's almost like it's like when your kid reminds you that you're gonna take them to the museum and you forgot about it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's almost like, hey, Dad, you promised you're gonna take me to the museum. Oh shit, that was today, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's one of those things of like, I'll put it like this, and then we'll continue finishing up with the movie.
Yeah.
At least it's a show. At least it's a TV show, and I don't think it's going to be that important. And it's not a movie, because I think the movies are what's going to be more important. Because Disney lost a lot of money last year. Like they lost a lot of money. So I think their movies are going to be what's more important. Obviously, the TV shows are going to be what's important, especially with stuff like Daredevil. So Yeah, we'll kind of get back on track with the movie, but yeah, just I like that like they went from being cameos to supporting characters because I mean I think a cameo is like what at least 2 minutes,
Just about, yeah.
and if you have more speaking roles, then it's not really a cameo. You become a supporting character. So the fight scene where they all show up and it looks like the title menu for Ultimate Alliance, which that gave me a nerd boner when I saw that. Like that just looks so
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
Seeing 62-year-old Wesley Snipes doing the action and just doing like the fist bump when he like gets somebody. I'm like, ah, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And then seeing Gambit getting to like do the action with the cards, which he was actually doing the action. I'm like, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I saw that behind the scenes like video, and that's why I sent you that, the message on X, because I was like, yo, this incredible. Just the fact that he did that. The fact that we've seen the behind the scenes, like so much behind the scenes of this film. Like normally you wouldn't see, especially in Marvel's case, the behind the scenes stuff for their films or TV shows. Like they would just like hide it. But for
Yeah.
this film, you're seeing like nearly everything, and the fact that you're not like seeing like cease and desist or copyright strikes, people will like posting the all the scenes and stuff of Deadpool Wolverine on Twitter and social media. Like there's memes, like there's so many memes done of I'm gonna make a name for myself here, with Gambit right before the fight scene. Like it's that alone shows you that they're proud of what they've done. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're proud, like, hey, like it's like you have your your hot wife, or you have a beautiful family, or your car, whatever. There's something you're proud of showing that you worked hard to attain, and you just showing it proud, like, hey, like I made this, or I broke my back, blood, sweat, and tears for this thing, and here it is, and you're proud to show it, to to show it off, to flaunt it off. And you haven't seen that with many of Marvel's projects, and the fact that we're seeing so much behind the scenes stuff with this film, with Deadpool Wolverine, it shows that they're proud of the final result, of the finished
Mm-hmm.
product, and I'm happy for that. It's amazing seeing Channing Tatum actually do the you know the you know the the choreograph, for his fight scene. That was cool seeing that, and it looked fluid. The fact that he did that, on film, and then we saw the behind the scenes, and it's like just neck and neck, something like exactly the same, like almost, of course, almost exactly the same, but it looked like he did it. And seeing Blade get his time to shine, X-23, um, Electra, like everyone got their time to shine. I'm happy about that. So it wasn't just throwaway cameo. Like they were used properly. They got the right amount of screen time. This film was 2 hours, but it didn't felt like 2 hours. Like it felt like the movie like just flew by, and I was like, "It's 2 hours? Nah, this can't be 2 hours. This can't be." So that's another good thing. I think what I would have done better. I mean, you could talk about what could have been done better, because of
Yeah.
course no movie is perfect. I think that maybe, I don't know, maybe incorporating a few more, because just a few more cameos, because I
Yeah.
know we had like the Juggernaut, we had Pyro, we had Sabretooth, we had Johnny Storm. Um, I don't know, maybe, oh, maybe that would have been too much to ask. Because
I mean,
it would
probably would have
outshine.
ballooned their budget
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little more,
that's
but
the thing. Yeah, or maybe at least because there were like rumors that Deadpool Wolverine story was supposed to like um be surrounded by the whole story is supposed to be surrounded by Kang, but what happened to Kang?
Hmm.
You know, uh, like the movie's no more, so he's supposed to have like a decent role. From again, rumors is rumors, but um, it is unfortunate that the ripple effect of an actor get into trouble, and then that just sends shockwaves across the MCU's slated movie releases, TV releases. So I'm glad that we got this film. Um, maybe a couple of different I don't know, like it feels like what we got was great, and asking for too much is like being kind of greedy, being selfish. I mean, we did get the Calverine.
Right.
We did
It's
get
like an
Henry
end. It's
Cavill.
like an end game. Is that all? What you wanted
Yeah,
more?
yeah. Like I was happy we got a little glimpse of Wolverine versus the Hulk, and then the Hulk just just smacking Deadpool away. Like that was cool, and so many um nods to different comic books,
Right. I love that.
which was awesome.
Also, I know you saw this. We almost got Nick Cage in the movie as a Ghost Rider,
Yeah, yeah, I heard about that. I was like, damn, like
which that would you imagine that Deadpool trying to interact with Nick Cage. That would have been fucking dope, actually. Just have Nick Cage come in and just Deadpool's like, I can't deal with this guy. Like he's
yeah,
too crazy for me. But um, yeah, just little tidbits. Nothing like major as far as like criticisms, but more just like I would have wanted more out of like a few things.
yeah,
Like one being Wolverine, and I'll explain why.
yeah,
His backstory I thought was a little not weak, but just kind of vague because from the way it sounded in the trailers when they're saying this Deadpool or not this Deadpool, this Wolverine let down this entire universe. I was thinking like, oh, we're getting the beginning of Old Man Logan when he kills all the X-Men because he was manipulated by Mysterio.
yeah,
Like I thought that's what we were getting. I thought we were going to at least get like a backstory of that magnitude. But instead it was just Hugh Jackman or not Hugh, but Wolverine saying then the humans came and killed every last one of them, and I'm like
yeah,
that kind of makes me go humans. Like, do you mean like regular humans, or do you mean like humans with like weapons that can kill mutants or sentinels? Like, what kind of
yeah,
humans are you talking about? That because that's just very vague. So I wanted more out of that.
yeah. I
Um,
agree. I agree.
I also would have wanted more out of the relationship with this Wolverine and X-23 Logan because I was kind of having a hard time, and I know it's two different. It's a different like that Wolverine is not her Wolverine,
Yeah,
but so it's two different people. But I would have wanted a stronger relationship instead of just one scene. Good scene, by the way, but like,
yeah,
and I liked how both of them just seemed like they were the same but also opposite. Where like she's talking and then he kind of talks over and she goes, "I'm not finished," and then she
yeah,
continues to talk, and I'm like, okay. So I know people kind of have a problem with X-23. They're like, oh, she lost her accent. I'm like, well, she grew up. I don't know what to say. She grew up and lived a life. So
yeah,
um, there's that. Um, also, Deadpool's reasoning for wanting to save his universe, where he was saying, all my life is in this one picture, and I have to save the woman that I love. I would have wanted more out of that relationship with Vanessa than just this is the woman I love. And it's like, okay, I know you love her, but I need to see more of that.
Yeah.
Granted, it probably would have made the movie longer. So maybe that's why. And just, I love Monica Baccarin. I think she's great. I just would have, and like in this whole trilogy of the Deadpool movies, I think that I have a hard time buying into the romance with her and Deadpool because it
Yeah,
seems
it
like,
was like lacking.
yeah,
Definitely lacking.
like the first movie, you saw more of a stronger relationship. The second movie, obviously she died, and you
Yeah.
just saw her in flashbacks. And this one, she was alive, and apparently she was seeing somebody. And then at the end of the movie, they got back together. I'm like, so what happened to your boyfriend? Apparently, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I would have wanted more out of that relationship to like seem more stronger. I mean, I gave this movie an A. I would have given it an A plus if it weren't for those like two major, plot points. Like if they had done something maybe a little bit more drastic of like she's pregnant, and I want to save my universe. I'm trying to save my family.
Yeah.
But like Peter coming in the end, I think was kind of heartwarming. With like Peter as a Nexus being in every universe and every Deadpool as a Peter. So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty nice. And also the Deadpool core scene, like that felt more like a video game mission rather than like something that seemed more, I guess, serious because like they just talked about the Deadpool core like earlier in the film and they just kind of left it alone. And then when that portal opened, I'm like, oh, who's coming out of that portal? And then it was the Deadpool core. I'm like, oh yeah, them.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like a video game mission rather than like, these are a force to be reckoned with. So, and then just Nice Pool, which was Ryan Reynolds, out of the mask. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Just him going, oh, I can, carefully break the fourth wall too. The proposal. He's like, what the fuck was that, bitch? That's not how you break the fourth wall. Oh god, I thought that was great. And then he ends up getting him killed.
Yeah.
And Deadpool, Logan's like, "You got him killed." No, I didn't. I'm sad over him. I'm trying to save him. So, and then of course, Blake Lively was, Lady Pool, which coincidentally I didn't know this. Rob Liefeld based Lady Pool off of Blake Lively because him and his wife were Gossip Girl fans. And this was before, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds even got together. So he based the look off of Blake Lively. And Matthew McConaughey was Cowboy Pool, which you can kind of tell by his voice.
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion was Headpool, which another small criticism. I wish they would have gotten the head from Origins of that Deadpool.
Yeah. Just like I would have loved that. Just that as a icing on the cake, bring everything back full circle because, that abomination of a film was.
And just like Deadpool kills it immediately where he's like, no, we'll never have to see that again. But other than that, yeah, just like that one shot fight scene of Logan and Deadpool killing all the other Deadpools. Like I'm such a sucker for one shot fight scenes. And I love that. I adored that. And the fact that he pulled on the cowl.
Yeah,
the cowl.
That was awesome.
I was like, they're like, fuck yeah. We're finally getting the cowl and we're getting the eyes. And, he's like, you've had that on the whole time, for killing mostly.
Yeah.
And, he's like, what are the wind resistance? What's the wind resistance on those blowjob handles?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just become a chatty little bitch when I get jealous. All right, maximum effort. And I'll say one thing about that cowl. It's cool, but then when they got into like the tunnel, you start to realize, okay, maybe it was fine that they just wore it for 5 minutes for that one scene. Yeah. Because you can see you can tell Hugh Jackman has to like look up to see Ryan Reynolds. So I'm like, okay, maybe it was best that they only had it on for that one scene. But it was still fucking cool because I see that and I'm just like, okay, there's no excuse why you can't have that in Batman and James Gunn's Batman. But that's another story. But and also kind of fun fact. So the day before we saw the movie, I had a muscle spasm,
Oh no.
and this was like during a show. I was me, Justin, and RJ, and like I literally was just turning around to pick something up,
Yeah.
and that's when I had a muscle spasm.
Oh no.
And so it lasted only like a day, but like I went to the movie. My neck was still kind of fucked up a little bit, and there was that one line where Deadpool goes, "Yeah, he's like Batman, but he can actually turn his neck." And
Yeah.
I'm like, I just whispered, "You fucker." But yeah, I mean, it's the rest of the movie was great, especially the ending where they sacrifice themselves, which they didn't really sacrifice themselves, and
yeah.
they end up coming out, and Deadpool going, he has risen, fuck, and then they play, what is it, fuck, what's it called, Iris third,
Yeah.
and it ends up being a pretty good ending. It ends kind of happily with Daphne Keene coming back as Laura, sitting next to Wolverine, and Wolverine saying, "Give me the fucking dog and talk to the girl."
Yeah.
So, and just that good stinger at the end where it shows that montage of the Fox, Marvel films, which I wasn't expecting to get so emotional watching it, because I'm like, man, that was our childhood.
Yeah.
Like that was our MCU before the MCU came out. Even the not so good ones, that was still our childhood.
Oh yeah. 2000, the year 2000 is when we got the first X-Men film, and that was damn. I was 10 years old. Back when that came out, and I was like, damn, like it's been damn, I'm old. Like in my head while I was watching, I was like, I'm old as fuck.
Yeah, we're getting there. Like I'm glad I watched the first 3 X-Men movies before the movie, and X2 still holds up.
Yeah, X2, I'll say it's one of my favorites. The first X-Men, like it's great, solid, but X2 was like peak. I'll say peak from the trilogy, peak
Mhm.
X-Men, and then the third one, I was so disappointed.
I'm gonna be an apologist. I didn't think it was that bad after watching it again. I didn't think it was that bad. It's just, again, the Phoenix saga is just like, how is it that you've done that? You've done one of the biggest sagas in X-Men. You got it twice, and
Yeah,
the second one like sucked major cock.
yeah, yeah,
Just Dark Phoenix. I haven't seen it since I watched it in theaters, and then this one wasn't that bad. It's just, I don't know. Just, I think because of directors, because Bryan Singer ended up directing the Superman movie, which wasn't that bad, but wasn't that great either. And then
yeah.
they brought in Brett Ratner to do this X-Men movie, and
Yeah. You can
both
definitely tell. Yeah.
both pieces of shit human beings. But
Yep.
Bryan Singer leaving to go do another comic book movie was just weird. But anyhow, yeah, just that was our childhood. Like the Fantastic Four movies with Chris Evans, they were goofy, but I think they were still fun.
Yeah.
They're still fun in their own way.
Yeah, I enjoyed. Sorry for interrupting. I enjoyed the first 2 Fantastic Four films, like especially Doctor Doom and Silver Surfer, and then a little glimpse of Galactus, and I sincerely hope that they do Fantastic Four justice, because
Oh,
if Fantastic Four and the X-Men, those, believe it or not, are way more popular characters than
yeah.
than the other characters. Like
I mean,
they're really popular.
Before Marvel was even a thing, like
Yeah.
if like it was just X-Men, Spider-Man,
Yep. X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, like those 3
Hulk.
franchises, and Hulk. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, like, when the hell we're gonna get like a Hulk, like a Hulk movie, or even like Planet Hulk or something like that. I know in Ragnarok, not right, yeah, and Ragnarok, we got like a little glimpse of Hulk and the Planet Hulk, because Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, um that scene where Hulk was in Gladiator, was Gladiator Hulk. Basically, they took that from Planet Hulk,
Right.
but yeah, we like, and I had like little glimpses of some of the Hulk comic books,
Right.
and I'm like, damn, like so much untapped potential here with the Incredible Hulk, but
Yeah,
I mean,
just Universal. I don't know if they still own the rights to a Hulk movie. Because I know they used to own the rights to doing a Namor movie. I think Marvel got it back.
mm,
So I don't know how the rights are with Hulk anymore. I mean, I keep hearing like back and forth things, but I know Mark Ruffalo is like very much like, I want to do one. If they do one, I don't want to see sexy Hulk. I don't want to see Professor Hulk in his, wearing John Draper's cardigan. Like I don't want to see that. Hey, for anyone that wants to think I'm talking shit, John Draper made that joke, so I'm pretty sure he would think it's because he made
yeah,
that joke about himself. But yeah, I don't want to see that. I want to see Hulk. I want to see
yeah,
badass Hulk. I want it. That's the Hulk I want to see. Like I love Mark Ruffalo. I think he's a great actor. His Hulk hasn't been as strong since the first Avengers movie.
yeah.
You know,
He's like too soft, too human. Like we need the Hulk that can go toe to toe with Wolverine and fight the Avengers. And even in one comic book, he just kills all the Avengers in one comic book series. So we need that like semblance of the Incredible Hulk back, because this
right,
version of Hulk is not like cutting. It's too soft. It's too campy. It's
right,
too Disney. Hulk, like he's a monster. He's a killer. So there's untapped potential with that, and even with Red Hulk, which we're gonna get in the Captain America film. I think that's the only reason why I'm watching the Captain America film is for Red Hulk. That's it. I'm because I'm very intrigued with how they're gonna introduce the Hulk, and maybe from that spawn Incredible Hulk film, maybe Planet Hulk. Who knows?
maybe. I guess since we're jumping ahead to San Diego Comic-Con from a few weeks ago, or I think, yeah, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about Fantastic Four. They showed footage, which I think was like pre-shot screen footage, which looked 1,000 times better than any of the other Fantastic Four films.
Yeah.
Like, this film is supposed to be set in the '60s, but in another Earth, and the cinematography legit looked like something from the '60s. Like it was Reed Richards, Pedro, doing one of those like PSAs of like, hey, do you want me to explode something or whatever? And him with Eben Moss Backrack as Ben Grimm, where they're just like being asked questions by the media, and you just see like a rocket ship take off. So, and then just oh god, the fucking Galactus just
Yeah.
peeking through the buildings, which I'm like, that's Galactus. That's not that fucking giant cloud. No, that's Galactus. Like that made
Yeah.
me shit my pants. Like that was
Yeah.
so fucking cool. Like again, they cannot fuck up. They cannot fuck up that movie. They just started filming. Like that needs to be a success. They need to get Marvel's first family, you know, perfect, fantastic even.
Yeah.
So that needs to be a hit. No ifs, ands, or buts. That needs to be a hit. I think they can pull it off. I mean, the fantastic flying car, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
I know Julian Cannon was there. Lucky guy. Shoot that Cannon. From what I heard, this Galactus is going to be a Nexus ping. It's not like they're not going to change him when he gets to the MCU. Like he's still going to be the same Galactus, which I think that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because like, just because you're going to another Earth doesn't mean Galactus should change. I would think Galactus would stick around in the galaxy, regardless. Like I would think the galaxy would kind of be like, off limits as far as like changing shit.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not a scientist, people. But so I'm looking forward to that. I want to see them get that right. And I guess we should jump ahead to the elephant that's in the room. I mean, because they talked about Captain America 4, which they announced that adamantium will be in the MCU, which cool. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, they're going to acknowledge the giant celestial that's in the ocean that's made out of adamantium.
Yeah.
So awesome. And then they talked about the Thunderbolts, which cool. I mean, that's a pretty good looking cast. I like Florence Pugh in anything. So I mean, they didn't really tell us anything we didn't really know. So except the adamantium part, and then of course Fantastic Four. So let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Yep. So if anyone that hasn't already known or they've been living under a rock, there was some news at San Diego Comic-Con with the new Avengers film.
Mm-hmm.
And we basically got Doctor Doom in the MCU, but the actor that's going to play Doctor Doom is none other than Robert Downey Jr. And of course, everyone at at Comic-Con was hyped and excited for it, which it was hype just seeing Robert Downey Jr. back. But for me, let's just call a spade here. Like, wow, it's exciting, it's awesome. It is, a Hail Mary. It is pretty much a desperation move because, if you're gonna bring back one of your like most popular actor in Marvel, in the MCU, that played, Tony Stark, Iron Man, and you're gonna bring him back as a villain, that lets you know that they're banking on this film to be, they're banking on this film to make its money and then some. They can't even break even. They gotta bring in profit, which we were talking about having other actors that will play that fit the role for Doctor Doom. The actor that played Doctor Doom in the aforementioned original Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name again?
Julian McMahon.
Julian McMahon. Yep.
Which coincidentally, Robert Downey Jr. actually auditioned for that role.
Yes, I remember that he had an audition for that role, but yeah, which it's funny. It's full circle, kind of a full circle moment.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe this was always the plan, but again, with just everything that's been going on with Marvel, I don't know. I just I still think it's a Hail Mary move, but I'm willing to to see it through, to hear it out, because of course in the comic books, there's a storyline where Doctor Doom and Tony Stark switch bodies, so maybe they can go that route. Of course, you had the variants. So many variants of like Wolverine, like we mentioned with Deadpool Wolverine, but it had to make sense. It'll still have to make sense. I'm just interested in the story. I'm interested in what what story they can make out, they could just scrounge up with this, because you're bringing Robert Downey Jr. in. He's not cheap.
No.
And for him to be back in the MCU, because, Tony Stark is dead. But I think they can salvage this. They could, make it interesting, take aspects from the comic books. They like, it's Marvel. Just got to go look through your immense catalog of comic book stories. Not too hard, right? Incorporate that into the story. And I I am hoping for that, but this is Marvel, mind you. Two steps forward, 4 steps back. I'm just hoping that we as the months pass, we do find out more, because Doctor Doom is one of those characters in Marvel Comics that's popular. He is one of the major big bads, and to have him in the MCU, I'm excited. Um, but I'm hoping that they do him right, and I think since you had the Russo brothers back, directing Avengers Doomsday, I think we're gonna get a good Avengers film. Of course, but time will tell. Time will definitely tell. I would like to see, the origin of Doctor Doom. I would like to see, um, I just want to see. I just want to see this adaptation of Doctor Doom fit well in the MCU. Of course, Robert Downey Jr. I'm not concerned about Robert Downey Jr. because we know he's a good actor. It's just story. And I think that's why he was a package deal, because he wanted the Russo brothers to direct this film. Which, yeah, like, I think is a good move. I was talking to a coworker of mine, and he wasn't like too fond of, the Russo brothers being back. But I think that with the success of the Russo brothers in the MCU, I think, like, why not? I really think that, why not have the Russo brothers back? So that's a good sign, but we just gotta wait and see. And I wonder if, with the other rumor being true with Secret Wars can be the reboot of the MCU.
Mhm.
So that's definitely, you can get, Captain America, Steve Rogers back, Iron Man, Tony Stark, you get Tasha Romanoff, Black Widow, get all these characters back. Um, but yeah, and then you see some of the comic book slides. Um, I don't know. I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm cautiously optimistic, because of they they have to have a plan. Oh my god, this fucking film. This fucking TV show, Secret Invasion. I will never forgive them for ruining Secret Invasion.
Mm.
Never forgive them for that, because that was a good story. The original Civil War in the comics, Secret Invasion. Even I went back and looked at the, um when Captain America is he was a Hydra agent, and he took
Yep.
over, the world. I went back and read that, because I was like, I understood. But I went back because I had a lot of time, a lot of time to kill at work. So I listened to, um like, this comic book YouTube channel. And it's like 3 hours. He's going through the whole story, and I was like, this is dope. This story is dope. So I'm all for that. Like, I'm if they could do something like that, um with with Doomsday and Secret Wars. Just adapt stuff from the comics, you know? Just adapt stuff from the comics, take some risk. Don't go with the same tried and true method. Like if you're gonna go all in with Robert Downey Jr. being the bad guy and playing a villain, then have him go all the way. Just do it. And then Civil War 2, you mentioned that. But yeah, that's my whole thing. If you're gonna commit to Robert Downey Jr. being the villain, then have him be the villain. Have him be Doctor Doom. Don't half-ass it. Don't pussyfoot around, as they say. Just do it. just go all in. No pun intended. Just go in. That's what I want. Just go all in. If you're gonna have him play the villain, have him be the villain. Have him just wreak havoc in the MCU. To the point that you got to reboot the MCU. Like have Doctor Doom do so much damage that okay, we got to reboot. Like in a good way. That's my thing. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. returning to the MCU as the villain, as Doctor Doom, Victor Von Doom?
I mean, he kind of just said everything that I was kind of gonna want to say. I
mean, you can say it again.
Victor Von Doom, Robert. I can't do your voice. Jesus Christ.
I mean, not my voice, but you could just,
Your voice is sexy. I can't do your voice. I'll just sound weird. I'm Drew Yari. So Robert Downey. No. All right, I'll stop. No, like for real, like yeah, just I mean, this is like the definition of cautiously optimistic because like I love Doom. I mean, Doom is probably my favorite Marvel villain if I had to pick one, because it's just such a very complex and badass character. And with the Fantastic Four coming, it's like, who are they going to have as Doom? And even before that, when originally Avengers 5 was Kang Dynasty, and then you had Secret Wars, I'm like, so where's Doom going to be in all this? Because Secret Wars is about Doom. Yep. Are you just going to have Doom like shoehorned in for the last second? Because if you do that, that's not going to be good. Like you can't just shoehorn in Doom. You got to take your time building him up like you did with Thanos. So,
yep.
Unfortunate circumstances with Jonathan Majors, took him out of the equation. So now 5 and 6 are going to be about Doom. 5 is going to be called Doomsday. So when I saw, the Russo brothers are back, which I'm happy that the Russo brothers are back, I do think it does kind of reek of desperation of like, well, we need you back because you made good things. And also I remember, the Russo brothers specifically saying if we're going to come back, it's going to be for Secret Wars. So this makes sense to have them back in. So when they announced Doomsday, I'm like, okay, Doomsday, Secret Wars. So who's going to be Doom? And then Robert Downey Jr., I'm like, yeah, well, huh? Robert Downey Jr., like him? I mean, granted, when you think about it, in Oppenheimer, he played the complete opposite of who he usually plays. Like he wasn't charismatic, charming Downey. He was reserved and also kind of a dick Downey. So I think it'd be interesting if he plays his Doom kind of like that.
Yeah.
So with this Doom, it's just like there's no way that you can't have him as a variant, because if the other Avengers, especially Spider-Man, is fighting Doom and they see his face, there's no way they're not going to recognize him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless there's a plan in place, because there kind of has to be. There's no way Downey's going to come out of retirement, or I guess Marvel retirement, and there's no way the Russos are coming back unless there's a plan in place. Like unless they swerve us in Doomsday, and you've come to find out that that's not the real Doom, that he's just a stand-in.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like, because the Fantastic Four are supposed to be, in both Avengers movies. And I imagine that Doom is going to come out in Fantastic Four, which he has to.
Yeah.
So like, what if there's like a thing of, Reed Richards sees Doom without his mask and he goes, "That's not Victor," and the movie ends with them finding out that that wasn't the real Victor Von Doom, that the real Doom was like manipulating Tony Stark's image to the public to say, your hero that you thought was saving your world, he's really as bad as me. And you find out that another actor is really playing Doom. And I know people want, what's his name? Cillian Murphy to be Doom.
Yeah.
Great actor, but it's just, I just, maybe I need to see it to believe it. I would love, unique, this is just a unique choice. I would love if Josh Hartnett could play Doom. I think he's a great actor. I think he's very unique. I think he can bring something unique to the table. And I just saw him in Trap, and Trap I didn't think was a very good movie, but I thought he was great in it. I thought he was great at being sinister and just conniving and scary, and just flipping that down to being kind of goofy, everyday dad. So I think he'd be a good Doom. I think Michael Fassbender would be a perfect Doom. But
Yeah.
he was also Magneto, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The perfect Doom would have been Mads Mikkelsen, but he was already in Marvel. Granted, it was a nothing role, but it's still going to be one of those things of like we've seen him before. But I don't know. Like, my whole thing is like, there's got to be a reason why he's Doom, and it can't just like don't be lazy and do variants, which I'm pretty sure they're going to do variants. But it's just like there has to be a reason why he's Doom, because his face is so like magnetizing. Like, people are going to know that he's Tony Stark. So I don't know. Like, I just can't picture him taking a legendary character like Doom and almost kind of wasting it. Like, there's going to be a reason behind it. Like that's kind of how I look at it. So I'm going to see how it plays out personally. Because like, what if, like I said, what if Doomsday ends kind of like how the comic began with, Tony Stark and Doom switching minds and switching bodies essentially, and you realize that the real Doom is the one pulling the strings. So
yep, that's I think that's the way they're gonna go, and have like the true Doctor Doom. Like, just by this picture, you have a whole bunch of people dressed up as Doom, so that could mean something. That could mean that it could be just multiple Doctor Dooms, and the real one is hiding, but you don't know which one. And if it's written well, and again, the Russo brothers, I mean, from now until they're done shooting, like, I know they're gonna hopefully write a hell of a story, like, hell of a script, and they have Marvel Comics to look through, like they have that, so they definitely have many avenues to where they could take the story to towards into Secret Wars, and it's just a matter of them piecing things together, doing callbacks, having continuity. That's all I hope for. Like, I want them to do Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom well. Hopefully, we see the X-Men in Secret Wars. Get a little taste of that, and then they reboot the MCU. It's just I'm optimistic, but I'm just cautious about this, because for me, I just don't want to jump for joy and say, yeah, like it's great. Like, no, like, we gotta wait and see. Things can change between now and 2026. It's like time just snap, like, no pun intended, snap, and time, before it'll be 2026. So
another thing that kind of puzzles me is, when Downey said, "New mask, same task." So, which I admit, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that thought of this. When a suit of armor across the world.
Yep.
For Doom, it's a suit of armor across the world, Doom's world. And like when Scarlet Witch told Cap, Ultron doesn't know the difference between saving the world and destroying it. Who do you think he learns that from? So that's going to be, Doom's MO is he thinks he's saving the world. But I don't know. Again, maybe I'm overthinking it, but like, I don't know. Again, 2 years, like 2026 and 2027 are a long ways from now. So I know they're going to start shooting the movie next year. Like they're going to do what they did with Infinity War and Endgame and shoot them back to back.
Yeah.
So next year is it's a long ways from now. So again, it's just I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. That's all I can really say about it.
Yeah. Before we both start sounding redundant, let's just wait and see. It's exciting, but there are more questions than answers. But we'll find out when more news comes out, and hopefully there are no reshoots. There's no ballooning of the budget because that has to stop. Like, I mean, they're already going into the coffers because getting Robert Downey Jr. is not cheap. So
nope.
Hopefully we will get a nice cohesive, 2 films. No need to do extensive no reshoots. Like at this point, you get the script together, you get everything, all your ducks in a row.
There's going to be reshoots. Well, no, I say that because every Marvel movie that's ever made has had reshoots, and with this movie in particular, these 2 movies in particular, they're allegedly going to have a lot of actors in the movie, especially in Secret Wars. So, from what I heard, is the amount of actors in these movies, or in this movie in particular, Secret Wars, they're not going to be able to get everyone in on the same days as they want to get them in. So there's going to be a lot of actors flying in either pre or post production to shoot their scenes. So you're going to have a lot of actors not shooting scenes with each other.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, they did it with Endgame. They did it with Infinity War. So I mean, it's nothing new. It's just in the case of like Brave New World, they essentially had to reshoot the whole film because it was that bad, apparently. So, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah, like in terms of like you can do a reshoot here, like maybe like a scene here, but we're talking about hoping that they don't redo the film again like they did with Captain America 4. That's where I'm getting at. If they do that, then we're in big trouble, and they can't afford to do that because they backed up the Brinks trucks, not trucks plural, for Robert Downey Jr. to get him back and getting the Russo brothers back. So they can't afford to do that. So in terms of like having actors, film their scenes, different times, that's that's gonna happen, like you said. But in terms of filming the whole these 2 films back to back, like that can't happen to redo the whole film. That's it's not gonna bankrupt them, but it'll be pretty close, especially with the amount of money that's going into all the actors, and there's a lot of actors in this, between these 2 films. So they cannot afford to reshoot the film like they did with Captain America 4, because that's just unexcusable. Like, so just here's to hope that we'll get 2 good Avengers films, and then everything leading up to it. Less is more. Like, I think they should just focus on every 2 years get like 1 Marvel film, like 1 big Marvel film, and then 1 like smaller one slotted in between it. TV shows have 1 or 2 TV shows. That's it. They don't need to have these C, D, E, and F tier superheroes.
It's happening.
It is, but they need to, especially they gotta learn that less is more. Like by doing by focusing on one or two big projects and then one or two or three max smaller projects rather than trying to do three or four or five uh big projects and then all these other small projects. Like you're spreading yourself too thin, and then at a point it just becomes can bear about entertainment. Like it's just off the assembly line, and we don't want that. And that's not only for Marvel, but that's just in general. Like we don't want that. We want things to be cohesive. We want things to make sense. We want things to flow, let it breathe, rather than rather than just have something come out every other month, every 2 months, every year. Just have just less, so it'll be more impactful. But I mean, we just gotta wait and see with everything else, TV. Um, with Marvel films and TV, we just gotta wait and see. I am happy for Deadpool Wolverine. Like you gave it a rating. I'm gonna give it a I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. Um, I'm gonna give Deadpool Wolverine an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna go and try and see it this weekend or during the week coming. Um, just because it's a good film, and something is good, you you praise it, you go watch it if you're able. So that's what we're gonna do. I guess, wow, almost 2 hours. Yeah, I guess that's the show. So we'll end it here. So again, it was awesome to finally get this episode out. Just a lot of just a lot of just real life going on, but we're here. Um, again, if you guys listening haven't watched Deadpool Wolverine yet, please go and watch it. It's worth your money. Me and Drew enjoyed it. Our friends, family that went and seen it, they enjoyed it. So if you haven't watched the film, please go watch the film and definitely discuss in the comment section below on YouTube about your thoughts on Deadpool Wolverine and your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Doctor Doom in the upcoming Avengers film, Avengers Doomsday. And all the other topics we discussed on here, definitely leave your thoughts on the comment section below. Please subscribe to Culture Attack right here on YouTube. On the audio side of things, please follow and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And I think we're on Google Podcasts, but that might be disappearing. Um, that thing's ancient, but definitely leave a rating for the show on whatever digital platform you listen to the audio version of this show. Uh, Me and Drew appreciate it. Follow Culture Attack on all the socials on TikTok, YouTube, and on Instagram as well. RubenPrimeMedia. Follow Drew on Twitter, DY Experience. Follow me, yours truly, at Mr. Ruben Prime. Again, you can listen to Drew's podcast, The Experience, every Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite. And wrestling is very hot right now. So tune in to Drew on his show, his wrestling podcast, and definitely give him a follow on all the socials where you can listen to the experience. And with that being said, Drew, it was fun. Definitely do it again very soon.
Yes, sir.
I know the D23. I know that's going on. It's gonna like the Marvel portion's gonna it's gonna happen later on tonight.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll talk about that when we do the next show, fairly soon, Lord willing. And I've rambled long enough. We rambled long enough about Marvel and all the good, the bad, and in between. But that being said, thank you for joining us on an episode of Culture Attack, right here on YouTube, right here on Spotify and iTunes. So that being said, thank you guys. Please join us again next time. For myself and Drew,
Mhm.
we're out.
Peace.
Peace.